going into any sort of negotiation, you really need to think about perceptions, so guarding perceptions on your side, but really understanding what's going on the other side. And there's a few ways that you do that. One of the ways is through the use of information or knowledge. And this is an important attribute to a phenomenally skilled negotiator, is to be able to ferret out information on the other side that helps you appreciate leverage factors and conceal information on your side of the table that would potentially provide negative leverage to you. So concealing the fact that I absolutely have to sell my business, otherwise I'll go bankrupt, that's information that I need to conceal. Now, on the other side of the table, you might be trying to ferret out as much information as possible in order to understand how badly that acquirer needs to actually buy a business, right? Is it a defensive play? Do you have a business that if acquirer A were to buy, it would keep acquirer B out of that market, therefore acquirer A would be willing to pay more money for that? Is there an executive at the acquirer whose job is on the line pending this acquisition? So there's a variety of instances that can impact the disparity of desire between the two parties, and it's your job on the sell side to ferret that out. And that often doesn't happen through direct questioning. It's putting together the mosaic, right? It's a lot of reasoning through inference. It's spending a lot of time listening. It's spending a lot of time doing research before you even start the process. But the flow of information is an extremely important aspect of a negotiation process, and we're going to go further into that as we walk through a formal sell-side process. Another key aspect is judgment, and this is often where inexperienced negotiators really get their asses handed to themselves. You know, the old saying, you've got to know when to hold them and you've got to know when to fold them. You've got to know when to bluff. You've got to really understand what sort of leverage, actual leverage exists on the other side, what sort of actual leverage exists on your side, attempt to mold the perception of the other side so that they believe that you have more leverage than they do. And then you have to use judgment as to your interactions between the parties. And a lot of this judgment really comes down to emotional detachment. You know, I've often said that the worst person to negotiate for me is me. I am too emotionally attached to my own assets, my own life, to actually be a good negotiator on my behalf. But I've learned this actually at a young age, because I've spent the majority of my life negotiating on behalf of others, that I know I'm not a good negotiator. So when I buy a car, I don't even show up personally at the showroom. I might go and test drive a car here or there, but when it's time to negotiate the purchase of that car, I send somebody in. Almost all of our big corporate negotiations get done by somebody else, not me. And there's a benefit, right, to putting the decision maker in the background. If I'm the decision maker, and in your case, if you own a business and you're the decision maker, it doesn't make great sense for you to be at the bargaining table. Now, having an agent bargain on your behalf and having some authority to make some concessions and score some wins, of course, is extremely helpful. But at the end of the day, stepping back from the bargaining table and remaining very emotionally detached and cool will allow you to operate under pressure. It will allow you to, the threats from the other side to basically just roll off your back, and you'll make far better decisions. And I guarantee if you remain emotionally detached and you allow somebody else to negotiate on your behalf, you'll likely have a much better outcome.